channel, and thank you for tuning in. I am Lana, the educator. If you're interested in all things educational, then like and subscribe. If you're a student striving for success, a dedicated teacher shaping young minds, a paraprofessional making a difference, or an administrator leading the way, this channel is your place for inspiration, insights, and invaluable resources. If you're a first-time listener on this channel, I invite you to explore with me the latest educational trends, tackle pressing issues facing the education sector, and share stories of triumph and innovation from classrooms around the globe. Today on Teachers Have Issues, yes, I'll be talking about retirement. This has been on my mind for some reason lately. And no, it's not what you think. I'm not thinking about retiring. But for some reason, I've been thinking about the topic of retiring. And it's understandable because retirement is a significant milestone. And for teachers in Trinidad and Tobago in particular, it marks the end of a fulfilling career dedicated to educating future generations. So preparing for this transition really involves careful planning and understanding the benefits that are available. When I started teaching, I did not think about retirement. A lot of people advised me to do such and such before I retired, and I even watched my parents retire. But it was more of a peripheral thing. It was to me something, that was far in the future. And now, as I'm firmly established in teaching and I see more and more colleagues around me retiring, I realize I don't know much about how to actually retire from teaching in Trinidad or how to retire just from work, you know. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned, and let's hope we can understand a bit more about retirement by the end here. So one of the first things people always tell me, and I've been hearing this since I started my career, is that you should start planning way ahead of time. Some people lately have been saying something like 2 years in advance, you start planning for your retirement, meaning paperwork and just getting the process started wise. So how do you retire in Trinidad and Tobago? So some of the conditions for retirement, especially from the teaching service, you need compulsory, well, then you must have reached the age of compulsory retirement, which is age 60, and you are required to retire at this age. Now, there has been talk around over the last couple of years about pushing that up to 65. So probably by the end of this year or in the near future, we'll be hearing what's the outcome of that. Another condition is that you can also take optional requirement, which is the age of 55. And this is at your own discretion, especially in the teaching service. Another condition is that you have to apply for early retirement, or you can apply for early retirement after age 50. But you must provide a reason, and the decision is made by the Teaching Service Commission. You can also retire on health grounds, and this can occur at any time if you hold a permanent appointment or if you take more than 6 months of continuous sick leave, and the ministry will convene a medical board to assess your situation. This one is unique in that it applies to teachers who joined the service before August 14, 1997, which is that you can retire on the grounds of marriage. So specifically, it applies to a female teacher who was unmarried upon joining the service and then got married afterwards or is about to be married. And the teacher must hold a permanent appointment and have been teaching for 5 years or more. It's important to note here that in this instance, only gratuity is payable in this case. And that's calculated as 1 month for each year of service, or the normal gratuity, which is lesser. And we'll talk more about what those things mean in a bit. So what do you need in terms of understanding retirement? What you need to know is the retirement categories. So in Trinidad and Tobago, retirement is classified in 3 main categories: compulsory retirement, voluntary retirement, and retirement on medical grounds. Compulsory retirement is as it sounds. It occurs when you reach the age specified in your employment contract or your pension scheme. And that is the typical 60 years of age. Specifically for educators who retire at this age, they are entitled to receive their pension benefits based on their years of service and salary. It's important to note that the teacher must not work beyond the age of 60 at this point. Of course, there are concessions in private schools and so forth. Voluntary retirement is the other category of retirement. It's also called early retirement. And a teacher may retire at 55 years of age, making this an option for those who choose to retire before reaching the normal retirement age of 60. In some cases, individuals can retire as early as 50 years. This must be done, with air quotes here, with the agreement of the president. But early retirees receive reduced pension benefits compared to those who retire at the normal retirement age. So the decision to opt for early retirement should be carefully weighed. You have to really think about whether you want this, considering the impact on your pension benefits and overall financial stability. The third category is retirement on medical grounds. And this category applies to those who are medically boarded, meaning they can retire if it is shown to the satisfaction of the president that they are incapable by reason of mind and body to perform their duties, and such infirmity is likely to be permanent. So basically, you are incapable of doing your job. You're sick or ailing. So there we have the three categories of retirement. Now let's look at benefits for teachers and understanding those retirement benefits. Teachers in Trinidad and Tobago are entitled to various retirement benefits, and they include pensions and gratuities. And these are governed by the Ministry of Education and the Pensions Act. So let's look at two key components here. We're going to look at pension and gratuity and what that means. I mean, I always heard pension and pension in Trinidad, and older persons saying, they want to guard their pension, or we make jokes about the after your pension. But what is it really? Do we understand what it is? So a pension is a monthly payment made to retired teachers who have met the necessary criteria. And not only teachers receive pensions, of course, other professions as well. I'm speaking specifically here about the teaching profession. So it's this monthly payment made to retired teachers who have met the criteria. And to qualify for this pension, you must have completed a minimum of 33 and 1/3 years of service. So teachers with this amount of service can receive a full pension. Or you must have reached the age of 60 years. And this is standard retirement age for teachers in Trinidad and Tobago. However, again, early retirement can be taken from the age of 55 with a reduced pension. The other term you want to look at is gratuity. Gratuity is a lump sum payment made upon retirement. So teachers are eligible for gratuity if they have completed at least 10 years of service. And this gratuity is usually a percentage of that teacher's final salary, and it's multiplied by the years of service. So in the link below, I will put a pension calculator so you can play around with it and see if you get an idea of checking your year of potential retirement and then how much you're going to earn then. Let me put a pin here for a minute and look at the law and requirements for a bit. So according to the Act of 1980, recruitment to the teaching service starts at the age of 17. So you can start calculating then. I'm not sure still if teachers still go into the teaching service at 17 in modern times, because many of them are probably now in sixth form, now doing CAPE or continuing schools or things like that. And then most teaching now in Trinidad and Tobago requires a degree. So officers with over 5 years of appointed and confirmed service, but less than 10 years of service, are eligible for gratuity. Let me repeat that. Officers with over 5 years of appointed and confirmed service, but less than 10 years, are eligible for gratuity. So understanding these legal aspects will ensure that teachers know their rights and entitlements. Okay. I'm also going to take another pin here and talk about briefly the national insurance system here, and or an NIS as we call it. So this is the system that provides the basic retirement benefits to insured individuals. So once you're working, most people in public service receive NIS or have paid NIS. So as an employee, both you and your employer contribute to the national insurance system during your working years. So if your employer is not doing that, you need to check and make sure that they're doing it. So upon reaching the age of 60 years, it's if you've made enough contributions, you are eligible to receive a retirement pension. And the amount you receive depends on the average annual earnings. So your yearly earnings and the total number of contributions you've made. So it's important for you to regularly check those contributions on your pay slip, or you go into the NIB board, their physical locations, and check up on that and ensure that there are no gaps that could affect your benefits later on, right? So what are the steps to prepare for retirement? First step, verify your service record, right? That's one of the things one of my colleagues who's preparing for retirement have told me there's some hiccup with that. So you really want to ensure that your years of service are accurately recorded, and any discrepancies in terms of if you had an appointment or if you transferred, all of those things are sorted out. So you need any discrepancies in your service record, anything that can delay the process of your retirement benefits to be checked and verified. So you can do that by contacting the Ministry of Education or check with your local school admin to verify your service record. That's step one. Step two, plan financially. So you want to look at your financial needs for retirement. So you want to consider factors such as what's your lifestyle like and what is going to be your desired lifestyle, right? You don't want to sit around in retirement now thinking what you could do, unless that's your preference where you just don't want to do anything. Think about your medical expenses, because remember, you would be older, you would be 55, 60 years, so medical expenses are going to come up, and any outstanding debts that you have. So you want to start looking at those things at least 10 years, 5 years before you retire, and use the retirement calculators to estimate what your monthly pension or other income sources might be. Step three, it might help you to attend some pre-retirement workshops. I mean, many people, all of us will probably be retiring at different times. So there are things that would pop up. There are policies and laws and things that are implemented that may change by the time you are ready to retire, sorry. So the Ministry of Education often organizes pre-retirement workshops for teachers. Also, I know the union organizes those pre-retirement workshops. And these can provide information on the retirement process. I know the teachers I've spoken to have said that these retirement workshops are very beneficial for them. The Teachers Credit Union and the Unified Teachers Association workshops were very valuable to them as well. And attending these can help you make informed decisions about your retirement. The fourth step, and I think the first step and the fourth step are the ones that would interest us here. It's submitting your retirement application. Now, it's advisable to do that maybe 6 months before, but teachers have been telling me you need to get this done at least 2 years before. Start getting your paperwork in order and and going down to the Ministry of Education and making sure that everything is in place. So before you do this, you're going to need to complete your retirement checklist. And your retirement checklist, at least for Trinidad and Tobago, involves all documents being submitted in triplicate. You need to submit 3 of each of these documents. And the first document would be, well, it's in no particular order, but you're going to need them. The letter giving notice or seeking permission to retire. And there's a standard form and template that you can use for that as well. Right there, giving notice or seeking permission to retire. You need your original birth certificate with statutory declaration, again in three copies. Your original marriage certificate if you are married, a divorce decree if you are divorced. There is something called an option form that you can get at the Ministry of Education. You probably can get them online as well. You need to submit that in triplicate. You need your national insurance number, the NIS that I spoke of earlier. They need contact information from you, mailing address, contact telephone number, email address, some means of contacting you. You need your letter of confirmation and appointment. So if you're listening to this now, make sure you keep these things safe. They're going to come up in the next 30, 35 years that you're going to need to submit these things in triplicate. You need your Board of Inland Revenue number. You need a deed poll if there's a, that indicates a change of name, and you need a naturalization certificate if it's necessary. So these are your documents that you are going to have to submit in your application. This can be done, with the assistance of those in the Ministry of Education. And when you're ready to retire, you submit these things to the Ministry of Education, and they would inform you whether by the time you're ready to retire, it's probably going to be, soft copy, digital. And yes, 6 months is good time to start doing it. And as I said, some teachers have told me they started 2 years before they retired to get everything in order and start collecting these documents before your intended retirement date. So you will set your retirement date to ensure all paperwork is processed in a timely manner. You really do want to include all these documents, right? Your service record, your birth certificate, and all of these in the checklist that I mentioned before. Then you want to decide on your gratuity, or what we call commutation of the pension. This means you have to consider whether you want to take the gratuity, what I mentioned before, or commute a portion of your pension into a lump sum payment, because this is going to determine, what you receive on a monthly basis, right? And this means receiving a larger amount upfront, but it will reduce the monthly pension payments, right? So you get a lot of money upon your retirement, but a smaller monthly pension if that's what you opt for. And it provides flexibility, for those who need a significant amount of money upon retirement for specific purposes. Or you can do the reverse, right? You can have a monthly payment that's just larger. And this decision should be based on your immediate financial needs and your long-term financial planning. If you're having issues with it, there are financial advisors out there. You can consult them and they can help you make the best choice for your situation. It's also important to note that, pensions are subject to tax. Let me tell you that now your pension is subject to tax, but gratuities are non-taxable. So additional income payments must be up to date, and an option form should be completed. So when we looked at the law as it pertains to retirement, I just want to go back and look at preservation of service there and what that means. And there's a section in the law that applies to persons holding a pensionable post on or after the 1st of December 1991. That it says that the person must have completed 5 years of unbroken service in the post in which he was confirmed. And there is also an aspect where the law takes effect where they link the service and the transfer. And there's the section that applies to a person who holds a pensionable office in service on or after the 2nd of June, 1989. Another part of where the law takes effect is retirement on grounds of marriage, which I mentioned before. And it's abolished only for those who enter the public service after the 13th of August, 1997. So pretty soon, that will not really be applicable to many people. And then there's a person whose service is preserved under subsection 4, 2 or 4 shall be paid on attaining the age of 55. So your pension shall be paid on attaining the age of 55. Pension and gratuity benefits calculated on the basis of, if you die before attaining age 55, the death benefit under the relevant law shall be paid to your legal representatives. Let me say that again. The law takes effect if there's a person whose service is preserved under subsection 4, where it says your pension shall be paid on attaining the age of 55, right? Deferred pensions and gratuity benefits will be calculated on the basis of whether you died before attaining age 55. So then the death benefit under the relevant law will be paid to your legal representative. Or if you die before repaying the full amount, then the unpaid portion will be deducted from the death benefit payable, right? So those are two important aspects for you to note there. And let's look at your list of requirements for pension for Trinidad and Tobago teachers. That means your pension and leave records for full service is needed. Very important here. I'm going over your list of requirements. You also need a signed copy of the memorandum to the Director of Personnel Administration noting retirement. They don't want a photocopy. They want a signed copy, right? They want your original signed letter of option, meaning this thing must be signed before the date of retirement, a signed letter of option, and there's a specific form that they have that you will need. Again, everything in triplicate. They need your original birth certificate. They need your original marriage certificate, if applicable, original death certificate that's issued from the Registrar General's office, if it's necessary, a signed and certified copy of your DPA's letter of first permanent appointment, a signed and certified copy of a letter of confirmation. They want your NIS, income tax file numbers and address, statement, any statement of indebtedness. So I am adding on to those list of requirements here. Statement of indebtedness. They want a telephone and contact number and a copy of approval for any no pay leave taken. Example, no pay study leave, no pay leave on public policy, secondment, etc. Whichever is necessary, they would need approval of those letters to go in with your pension documents, and also a copy of your letter of promotion. So if you're promoted within the last 3 years prior to retirement when necessary, maybe you became VP, head of department, principal, they would need a copy of that letter 3 years prior to your retirement. So let's look at eligibility for benefits in terms of gratuity and pension. So you might take compulsory retirement, right? So you'll be eligible at age 60. You would need 10 years of permanent service. And if you're a temporary officer, then you would have to have 10 years of service as well. And you must be approved by the Ministry of Education. If you're taking voluntary retirement, that's between 55 to 59, you must have 10 years of permanent service. If you're a temporary officer with 10 years of service, again, you must be approved by the Ministry of Education. Now, if you're taking retirement with special permission, that applies, you're eligible for that if you're between ages 50 to 54, and you must have 10 years of permanent service, and you must have been appointed and confirmed. And that approval comes from the Ministry of Education, and that is with effect from January 6, 2006. That's special permission retirement. If you're retiring based on ill health, any age applies, but more particularly if you have 10 or more years of permanent service, and the approval there for ill health retirement comes from the Public Service Commission. Well, then death, right? If that occurs at any age, obviously, you are only eligible for gratuity, and only if you have 2 years or more of service and appointed and confirmed. And this only applies for teachers entering the service after August 1490. Well, teachers entering the service after August 14, 1997 are ineligible for this, right? And this must be approved by the DPA or the Ministry of Education. If your retirement takes the form of resignation, which can be any age, we're really looking at 5 years or more of permanent service, you will only be eligible for your pension here if you have 5 years or more of permanent service, and you must be appointed and confirmed. Your benefits would be deferred to the age of 55, and this approval of this comes from the Ministry of Education. If your retirement takes the form of abolition of office, which includes voluntary separation and package, the VSEP, this can be done at any age, right? This is eligible at any age. It's reference 12 of 2352. And the approval for this comes from the Cabinet Ministry's Terms and Conditions. If your retirement takes a form of public interest, it can take, you're eligible for this at any age, referencing 15, Section 3, 23, and 52. You're eligible if you have 10 years or more of permanent service. And this public interest retirement must be approved by cabinet approval recommended by the DPE. Okay. So those are what you need to retire in Trinidad and Tobago. Those are the documents you need, the eligibility, and things that would just help you on your way. So if you're thinking now, let's go into post-retirement considerations. These are not necessary here, but I think I should tell you, as we are on the topic of retirement, look at health insurance, of course. Upon your retirement, your access to health insurance through your employer may change. So you want to know that from now. And it is important to explore health insurance options to cover your medical expenses. So you want to consider maybe private health insurance plans or other offerings that may be made through the National Insurance Board. That's one. You also may need to look at continued learning, right? You're retired. You don't want to just stop learning because you're retired. You're not dead, So many retirees actually find joy in continuing education. And I don't mean you need to go and study anything academic again. You can learn a new skill. You can go on tours. There are many type of retirement groups out there. So you may want to try that. And it could mean taking a course at a university, workshops, a community class, pick up an exercise class or something you've always wanted to do, which technically you should be doing the things you've always wanted to do before retirement. Lifelong learning will keep your mind active, and it can open up new opportunities and give you a new lease on life. And of course, coming out of that would be pursuing new interests and hobbies. Write a book, start a podcast, you know. So you have so many opportunities when you retire to pursue these interests and hobbies, pick up photography, maybe sewing, singing, volunteering more, so you can travel or learn something new. So staying active and engaged can really help you, have a more fulfilling retirement. Do some part-time work or consulting. You have all these skills over 60 years. Why not consult? Part-time basis, it can help you provide additional income and really keep you more engaged, even if you're doing it in the education community. So many of you have become experts in your field and experts in your content area, right? So many educational institutions would value your experience and knowledge. Volunteering, I am in a volunteer group, and so many of my volunteer members are retired people, and they find so much joy in giving back to the community, nonprofits, schools, different community centers, organizations you can partner up with, and it can really give you a sense of purpose and fulfillment there, right? Remember also to stay physically active, right? Your health is crucial. You don't expect you to go sprinting, doing any 100-meter sprints, but you do want to stay healthy and active by getting regular exercise, even if it's just walking or swimming or yoga or anything like that. It really helps maintain your health and well-being. I've seen so many of my colleagues who've retired looking so much better. It's like years have been taken off. It's amazing to see, you know? So retiring from teaching in Trinidad and Tobago is obviously a significant life event. And it's not just retiring in Trinidad and Tobago. Retiring anywhere is a significant life event. It's a new step in your life, and it does require careful planning and consideration. So by understanding these benefits and preparing and staying active and engaged, I hope that you can enjoy a fulfilling and rewarding retirement. And remember to start planning early. I hope to take my own advice. And if I can't figure it out myself, to hopefully be able to seek professional advice so that I can have and ensure a smooth transition in this new phase. Thank you, for listening to my views, on retirement and what I found out, because it really is a significant milestone. So I hope for all of us to make it a rewarding experience, whether you're considering compulsory or early retirement, or retiring on medical grounds, it's still a very significant milestone. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Teachers Have Issues. Yes, I hope this information helps you navigate the retirement process more smoothly. If you have any questions or need further assistance, you surely can get that at the Ministry of Education or, trusted financial advisors. Until next time, this is Lana the Educator, wishing you all the best in your retirement planning. Remember, you empower minds and you ignite curiosity. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and turn on your notifications. Bye.